cognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight, and so on, until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so on up to no old age and death, and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three dimensions rely on the perfection of wisdom and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and said to the bodhisattva mahasattva, noble Avalokiteshvara, that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Sharadvati Putra, and noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoice and praise the words of the Blessed One.
Kanda sebe zara mare melo donge chezabe rozo gena buje daze yana joje yade so roda chedo nyemo nyelo leje jado roze Mare me se donge nyungu junye junze redo no doje saje doze yede lezo jase doyengo jodo judo junye junje dale me se jambe yanade O Arabazana de O Arabazana de O Arabazana de Zede Cheje Chera Vezeje Dale de Mo Me Barasene Gadan de je jolo to ba ye Bobe no je do lo so je be je sho je me do to Lam Rim Chenmo Doge Shu Bin Di Di Ju Na Ga Zhen Qin Bi Gu Ne Je Zong Di Gu Song Tu Ji Gu Zhu Zi Du Su Bin Zu Ge Li Xie Yue Zhen Bi Gu Da Yue Zhu Yue Zhe Wa Gong Yue Song Ma Li Xie Jia Zhi Zhen Zi Bi Du Xia Zhi Su Wan De La Su Wan De Du Ji Qin Bu Di Xi Du Ji Chang Chu Zi De Luo Ba Da Na Ru Ba Zhu Bi Ba Da A Di Xia Nyang Li Xin Lo Ji La Su Wan De Shang Bo Tong Mi Yu Nian Na Zhu De Chu De Di Yue De Da Zhao Bi Bi Guo Zai Lu Ni Su Lin Ba Jia Jin Xu Bi Ji La Su Wan De Jiang Yin Yu Mi Xu Ji Lu Zhu Dang Da Wan Zhou Ba Ri Bi Ku Ju Qin Sang Ji Gu Jiu Pa Pa Ya Se Su Sa Mu Da Yue Ji La Su Wan De Xi Zhu Dang Bi Chou Nga A Di Xia Ga Dang Di Bi Mi Bo Zhong Den Jie Nian Jiu Nang Xi Gu Qi Song La Su Ga Dang Na Ma Nang La Su Wan De Gang Jin Xi Di Zu Je Tsongkapa Ma Do Ri Bi Wang Shu Je Tsongkapa Dong Dian Bi Da Bo Ke Zhu Jie Yao Se Ji Ba Ji Na Su Wan De Jiao Song Gun De La Ma Du Ji Chang Gong Di Xin Nian Ci Zong Nian Qiu Dong Ti Mo Ngu Zhu Zong Zi Bi Zhen Jian La Ma Nang La Su Wan De Rang Jiao Su Rao Gun La Da Yue Mi Ge Zang Ta Ba Zhi Bi Zhong Chu Zai Yue Zhi Bi Da Ke Zi Ba Yi Si Zi Xin Nian Nang La Su Wan De Jie Wo Gun Du Yang Da Na Ma Dang Zhi Mi Qu Zhi Bi La Long Xu Jin Sa Dang Nang Ji Yu Den Rao Zu Ni Du Ji Chang Ge Gu Nyado Yeshu Sanje Chudon Suji Chonala Shanchu Bodu Dane Josu Che Dagi Chi Chi Jibe Sonanje Lola Pinshi Sanje Rubo Shu Sanje Zoji Chonala Shanchu Bodu Dane Josu Che Dagi Chi Chi Jibe Sonanje Lola Pinshi Sanje Rubo Shu Sanje Chudon Suji Chonala Dane Josu Jin Dagi Chi Chi Jibe Sonanje Lola Pinshi Sanje Rubo Shu 아야 당아서 라지 선제 당제 교단도 아니 타자 조비 상제 저 공부는 거 되게 받아 타고건도 데 타바나 터지리 셰고 셰바네 토고로 대체되네 가서기 되네 진짜 저기 라고 들라나 다 돈네 대리
So we're here today to receive this, the teachings of the Dharma, to gain the state of complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other beings. When we long to achieve state of enlightenment, we need to know by what means that we gain the state of enlightenment. What is the method and skillful means that is required for one's achievement of state of enlightenment. So therefore, to have such skill and methods, one needs to receive the teachings, Dharma teachings. It is for this purpose we are here today at this place to receive the teachings of the Dharma, to gain the method and skillful means for the state of enlightenment.
다 추쇼기 계셔 마시와이나 가서 되는 걸 가르쳐 보았잖아. 매일 로정 제거. 매일 로정.
Just think about that. What we are doing here today, we can analogize this to the trainings, or the medical trainings. You know, someone who is undergoing a medical trainings, how we can treat our sicknesses. So it is therefore we are here to train ourselves how to treat ourselves, how to undergo a treatment to ourselves.
단답발랑 속인 전문이 평화선의 멤버스는 요다 전대에 아니 zubo 로 시 zubo 라바스 그래. 된지 이걸로 마도 아니 나이 10이 넘어라 아니 멤버기 다니셔야 돼 단다 맞으러 선생님만 요래로.
So up until now, in the modern medical, domain, where you have a treatment of treating our physical illnesses, this is existed for a very long time. However, the modern science have not discovered yet to treat our mind. How can I treat our mind and how can transform our mind? There is no such treatment is ever invented so far. But this treatment of transforming your mind and treating your mind had been existed for a long time in Buddha Dharma.
너버도 정으로 책이 줄로도 만잡이 아니 가서 따주진 거는 손대야 돼. 근데 저는 의비 내실에 단다 생치 나서 제대로 들어와.
So moreover, His Holiness has written a book on the ethics beyond, religion, or it is ethics beyond religion, or ethical practice, not relying upon their religious practice, which literally, aim towards transformation of our mind, how to treat our mind, what skillful means there to treat ourselves, our mind.
당가서 출루게 따주시 자체네 경로 접이 토네 아니 바타예비 선제 단지 단지 시원 나지 경로 전에 최제게 임배 양어 된되게 하세 나게 이로 제타랑 제게 임배세데 맞서 당가제 제로.
So now here it's up to us. There's two choices for us. You wanted to treat your mind based on cultivating appropriate motivations in accordance with the teachings of the Dharma, or you want to treat your mind without relying upon any religious practices. So we have two choices here.
나와서 가르치는 면 허세대 안dom바 투병 dom바 가르치게 손상이 최대를 전에 저원 있잖아 안dom바 투병 번하게 되지 나가들 메바체 될라랑 집에 남아 있거든 게 아니 펜바 자천부 선제 타지 있던 루투빙가 소 자전에 와 있어 자전디 아니 나라로 제게 있어는 아니 선제 타는 메바체체.
So here we are here today most probably to receive the teachings, to gain the skillful means for the state of enlightenment, for the benefit of all other sentient beings. It is therefore we are here to treat our mind in accordance with the teachings of the Buddha Dharma. Thus, one must cultivate appropriate motivations by visualizing Buddha before oneself, surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, being yourself in the presence of the Buddha, and surrounded by all sentient beings. May I and all beings be able to achieve the state of enlightenment. So this is the kind of motivation that we need to cultivate. So with this, let's take a couple of minutes to meditate upon.
다들 느끼는 치바치냐네 컨센버셔이 주 근데 가르를 써나요. 사순주 주면 상조랑지린 바스.
So with these motivations, the teachings that we are receiving today is a great deities on the stages of the path to enlightenment. Jangchu Lam Rim.
Tan zepa bi on de shason na ne toman temba tu bi on bo e son ba de jaga ji penju na je nyang sa le to ba rang ji le chong ani te yin je pa na ani chi sa ani ta ka sa lo za wa de pen cha nyang de zha ne ani be yu to ne je ani te ne ta dang su ko su ba ba ma sa rang yi la pa ne ba te ro.
So such teachings have taught by Buddha Shakyamuni, which is then transmitted to his disciples, the great Indian disciples, who have gone through at rigorous practices and gain high levels of realizations based on their practice, and they have transmitted to their own disciples, and finally such precious teachings were then transmitted to Tibetan masters through the great kind Tibetan translators into Tibetan. So therefore we are receiving the teachings, unbroken lineage of the teachings of the Buddha Dhamma, which is currently focusing on the Tibetan version of the teachings of the Buddha Dhamma.
Labada nga tsuki misi di je tsuanangsi ki mermando damba tubi ombada nga tsuki chete misi ki tangja shanjo rawa zeden tselo jabi sanjen sakangi dyumando ba gezan sanje tongi karsa duye ki kenle jema tubi la shanjo chi damba tubi ombada ki kenle chene ani zeden tselo jabi sanje de nge rangi dyugi yin sene penjo chire doa ani ten yin sana peka tangang ba shuji sanje na chi tenre doa.
So this is the specific teachings, the Dharma teachings given by the Buddha is solely aimed towards the human beings who are in this planet at the time of what we call the 100 years age, Tselogyaba. Tselogyaba this is how Buddha himself has committed that I will be coming into this world during the time of 100 years of age of the human beings, who have not been actually tamed by the thousands of the Buddha in the past. So therefore, Buddha Shakyamuni has pledged himself to come to this world at this particular time to tame the minds of the human beings or the sentient beings.
Tendri yang anzo loji ki chongren tendri ki temba song ta temba ne so de ni ti pa ne gombo lu pa den dawa traba laba ta tananga so be jangolo ma songa ba chima de sen ne shi ji ji ki tuje ma gi tangja min se ja shan ju ji tendri ki yong shang ge chu ji jing azon je de yang su su ngwan ne na shu ji ren ta chim bo le do.
So if you really look at those great teachers of the past, including Buddha Shakyamuni, and the great teachers such as great masters such as Nagarjuna, Chandrakriti, Lama Tsongkapa, and so forth, they have made such a commitment to serve humanity, to dispel the ignorance of the human beings. So when you understand such, backgrounds of those great beings, you will develop as, a great appreciation and gratitude towards those great beings and value their teachings.
Labato tashe kangi chana she na roa shubi chana ni jase shola da ni pade karsa ni choji pade adesha ki zo jia chana so bi shang chu sen jang tse de den so shan jo 아니 따유고는 공부를 빠진 다와니 로 곰시 소 제대되는 현적이 아니 라바도 된디기 용 개첨보 사첨보 지레도.
So here now, it is such a wonderful opportunity and privilege to be able to have access to those great teachings of the Buddha. If you look at the teachings of the wisdom aspect and the method aspect, or you could say the conduct, the practice of the teachings of the conduct and the teachings of the philosophical standpoint or the views. When it comes to the teachings of the conduct or the method aspect, the teachings given by the great masters such as Shantideva and Atisha, Devamkara Shirijana, who have given a vast teachings on how to cultivate bodhicitta. And if you look at the teachings of this philosophical standpoint or the viewpoint or the view, the teachings given by the great masters such as Nagarjuna and Chandrakritis. So those teachings, if you are able to look at those teachings, not only that you value those teachings and by believing that such immaculate teachings exist, but if you really try yourself to take an initiative of engaging in such a teachings and practice, and you will be able to see the overall teachings of the both method aspect and the wisdom aspect, with this kind of experiential knowledge, the little experiential knowledge will then really move yourself, encourage yourself to further, engage in such a practice.
nga tsogi sambal tsama yo ina rentan le chi jiredo ro ngone jewa ina nga tsogi kese singane chanagi omi ta to na lama yashuni dangshola na jaga ngomulure da padin da wata bani laba chong yoro tai chon omi tai to na shena.
So only that if you have such feeling derived from your practice, the special feeling derived from your practice will enable you to value those teachings. If we were to ask who would be the best teachers or the master of the philosophical standpoint of emptiness or the middle way, then suddenly those individuals who are familiar with those teachings would definitely choose the masters such as Nagarjuna and Chandrakriti.
Tenagi ro shubi sona shesona ne ba joje pade adesha de jese shwal hani se lansa la ba chongora ji yengi china.
So then similarly, if one is familiar with the teachings of the conduct, Jebicha, the teachings of the conduct or the teachings of the method aspect, if we were to ask who would be the best master, suddenly the individual who have gone through the practice and who is acquainted with such teachings will definitely raise their hand and say that Shantideva and Atisha and so forth would be the great teachers of the method aspect.
Tisun chala de maso na tön sasho zetra mota ina rentan chesho de tang de dorda ro.
So it is just like we are now choosing the most valuable object, in other words, just like someone who would like to choose a best car, the most expensive car to drive. So we are trying to to get this vehicle, the most valuable vehicle and most expensive vehicle to drive.
다 든지기 쳐데 발람이 쳐봐도 당하게 쳐쳐쳐 아니 쳐데 쳐냐 쳐다 쳐버서네 다는 가서 кино잖아요 뉴스데 쳐봐.
So this is this actually covers the greatness of the teachings and the teacher, and having understood the greatness of the teachings of the teacher, teachings and the teachers, were then how to listen to the teachings and how to teach the Dharma to others. With this, then, when it comes to such, then we will cultivation of appropriate motivation is the key factor for receiving the teachings and giving the teachings as well.
다 상추 Lam Rim Chenmo gi damba ngo jung ngo gi zai sa ji ka chen go ne xie re sa na ani lang ji za wa xian ye den bi cui dang den de lo ji dai zhen yin ba ni yin se de nge ba de xie go re jung ngo ji den la ba.
So when you really look at this teachings of the Lam Rim Chenmo, the teachings, the actual teachings of the entire, the essential teachings of the Lam Rim Chenmo is included within those two headlines. How to, rely upon the spiritual teachers, and having relied upon the spiritual teacher, how to listen to the teachings and followed by the practice. So these two headlines actually encapsulates the entire teachings of the Lam Rim Chenmo.
내가 저 거대 보러 와. 개개 삐따고 지는 개개들 차진 가서 산 것에 대 돈벌을 내요 보러 와.
So in order to rely upon authentic teachers, what makes that teacher authentic? It's very important. What kind of qualification that is required for such teacher to be an authentic teacher?
뒤 고아들 해서는 가서 라마 땡고를 세대 출루지 깨쳐 많이 차로 이응비네 시토는 고아들 해요 그래. 라니를 편도해요.
So when speaking about relying upon the spiritual teacher, this should always ask, the question should be asked to ourselves, authenticity of the quality of the teacher, and having discovered the authenticity of the quality of the teacher, then authenticity of his teachings must be understood. It must be, at least have some, kind of understanding of such quality and the teachings.
라리 첨부기 팀모메비 저저 니시 첨부랑 가서 송화생이 저러와 라리 코르지 치소는 녜바사 걸라마 거지 장슈진 가도 했지 이거래로와 맞아 라마라 템베 출라 템베 테바 체존 템베 뭐지 이게시에 제로 출루 게시에 장슈진 가도.
So this teachings with, if you look at the one headings from the headings or the outlines of the Lam Rim Chenmo itself was saying Nyeje Chenpo Ranga Sutowe Chewa. So that is the greatness of enabling one, refrain automatically from the great wrongdoings. So this is the actual feature of practicing the Lam Rim. Once you are able to, put yourself into the practice of Lam Rim Chenmo, being yourself as a Lam Rim practitioner, and such wrongdoing must be automatically refrained if one is a real practitioner of the Lam Rim Chenmo.
대중 가서 들어 메토드 버지 콘 남바노네 제요고야나 갈래 코노에 되도 메토기 장슈데 장이 장도데 이 소바리스 타바데 갈래마 사로 해치지로 대나게 체드니네 대이 되는 배전제만 거지 네파데 장슈 다소나 세리데 장사 되요.
So if you practice Lam Rim Chenmo, although that you are not specifically targeting towards all kind of wrongdoings, but just being an authentic practitioner of the Lam Rim Chenmo will automatically, get rid of all those, defilements, the various defilements as by product, just by engaging in the practice of Lam Rim Chenmo. Just like a flower, when the flowers begin to grow, you see the muds, It is just coming out of the muds. But as it fully bloomed, then the mud is nowhere. But the flower is not trying to get rid of mud, but the mud itself, automatically, be removed. So just like this, when you are actually practicing Lam Rim Chenmo, all other defilements will be removed as automatically.
That's why such a jeba, Dambang and Hamachi, the tree in Balani, not just our senior Timbizina, then a Lochita in Rimani, Tatomori, that then a Lochita in Rimani, Laniri, Lanchi, Najalang, Pajabadani, Marie, the Italian Nimboli Bishiku, the Nimbochetan in Bitsiniri, Tatomorisa. Then Nimbochetan in Bitsitaniri, Lanchi, Najalang, Nipachabadan, Nimboli Singori. 다 동본지사 다 님본인 생활의 소리 주부 중요도 투모에 나죠 주부 챔피언 나죠에 마냐선에 세레 다 주부 챔피언 다 때는 동본지사 다 주부 챔피언 나죠에 마냐선에 세라 소리 대전란 주부 고당바장 대바전란 주부 고당바 센제 코나된바 센데 주다주 센제네 쇼발로 호세제 다데 동본지사 다 센데 주다집에 쳤다는 예레 아마레 베지시르 조카나테네 자와 샹추지 센장이 렘바 아니 초가좀 위치 아니 마르체비치 초가좀 치데 제레 디노네네 샹추 센장 비렘바 데레 다 샹추 센장 비렘바 데라이네 냐메 조가 챔비존에 손베장 치다 마카사 젠드메가 니메고네 장치다 제세 쇼와라 이존에 네메 장치치 다 데는 가서 거서 봐봐 아니 샹추게 센시비 카투 데라 샹추게 센장 치다 제세 쇼와라 조지 바데 아테샤이 주님 제네 명아데 샹추 센장치 지다 아니 가사 제세 시와라 유존에 데베네 다제녀 중원에 샹추 센장치 니존나네 가소샤 다제녀 중원에 샹추 센장치 데 카토 데레레스
So we are on the particular chapter, the chapter of the stages of the training in the spirit of enlightenment or the Bodhichitta. And so this has two outlines: the training in the spirit of enlightenment, training based on the 7 cause and effect, personal instruction in the lineage of this lineage descended from the great Atisha, and then the trainings based on the teachings of the conqueror Shantideva, with exchanging self for others, self and others. So we are at this particular point, we are under the headings of the trainings based on the teachings of the conquered Shantidevas, exchanging self for others.
just show like is only labaji shanju sen penshi but bet that shan karare shanju chimbo gi senji dumantu na matu se chiro sonji tene do.
So here when it comes to the practice of the bodhicitta or the spirit of enlightenment, the most suited and effective instructions could be found in Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva, and also the benefits of the practicing spirit of enlightenment. So, in fact, it is said that if one is unable to subdue one's mind by practicing and following the instructions of the Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, there's no such instruction that could effectively tame and subdue one's mind.
The jensen karichene lama za chetane reves ne se ngotchi tagro mares karesana ngotsoge natsa tewade danzi da ranchin ni ro ta teni gi nanga te tan yo ora lama za chwe keche mare ro natsa ngonzi.
So now, why we could say this, the Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life is said to be the most effective practice to subdue our negative thoughts and emotions. And it is not just, it should not be just because the teacher who taught these teachings is something that is very precious and famous. But rather, the way the teacher actually identified the faults of our mind. He, in fact, pinpointed the faults of our mind, which actually becomes becomes a cause for the arisal of all those negative thoughts and emotions, are Rang Qianzhen and Dangzhen, self-grasping mind and the self-cherishing mind. Those are the two root cause for development of all those negative thoughts and emotions. So therefore, Shantideva is pinpointed those two and how to have a battle with such negative thoughts and emotions. So now here, what really caused by means of generating Dangzhen, self-grasping mind, what really caused by generating self-cherishing mind here now? By means of developing Dangzhen, or the self-grasping mind, enables one to remain within this unenlightened existence, in other words, samsaric existence. By means of developing self-cherishing mind, will prevent you from getting state of enlightenment. So therefore we find in the text by saying that what is the benefit of engaging in the practice of exchanging with self and others, and what is the disadvantages of not engaging in such practices. So now here, let's ask the question to ourselves. From the beginningless time to up until now, we put ourselves as in other words, we look at ourselves as the most precious things that is to be cherished. And we have been cherished and looked at ourselves as the most precious. And we did everything to fulfill our own wishes, to become happy. But if we were to ask this question and reflect carefully, have we ever achieved what we long to achieve?
소소 깔레 타간다부지 전에 미유대잖에 소소 대치 단달 깔레 타간다부지 전에 통 단다바도 페체 로이 장카 명예지 깔레 저선 단다 저버지 되면은 감발리는 마소 고저저로 로 깔레 두종로.
So now here it is time to think about that from the numerous lifetime, years and lifetimes in other words, we put a lot of effort to achieve our objective, which is the lasting happiness, isn't it? For that purpose, we put a lot of effort to everything that we could, to the fullest extent of our own ability. However, we have not reached that, we have not achieved, none of us have achieved our objective. So now, it is time for us to close that industry.
telanga soki ngi dechi tandalanga kali jamesa ngaso sakalo emer sendi nyonyu thona goro chuse je ne je ne ko pecho tona tanda palen deba leiba ngaso ne ro te da tandi su se ji sono ji ngaso jin mindoa tanda duru yogo.
So it is, we can see our own experience through our own experience that we long to achieve happiness and lasting happiness and satisfying happiness. This is our priority. We put a lot of efforts to achieve such level of happiness. But we all know that we haven't achieved that.
오늘 다시 현대적인 개체적으로 당같이 논도에 지르마도 깔린데 저인 대본에 좀 와서 당가 간에 노인바 이나선 좋아지 그 거래도 당가서 배도 쳐서 찾자니.
Actually, it is very important for us to really to ask question to ourselves, but we haven't really took our time to really just to ask the one question to ourselves. We haven't been doing that. We should ask the question to ourselves. In other words, that why I haven't been able to achieve my objective. I long to achieve lasting happiness, and for that purpose, I put a lot of efforts and energies. But then I haven't been able to achieve this happiness, the happiness that I long to achieve. Why? What really went wrong? What is wrong there? So we should ask those questions, but we have failed to ask this question to ourselves up until now.
just show like 20 chen yundiroa. The cherangi noede any rani jeban zene nosha zen yoat and nosha. The country chen hakore any momboshi and karechegore. Natsunyo de Yong Daje Temba de Gigi de Jibe Kanzaki, Jen Jeba Zone, and Sanji Komontaja, Natson Tanda Taran Dune, Tanda Taran Ladesha, Mombushi Chishin Gotenich in the Chibadosen, then did the Sonra.
So then Shantideva has beautifully summarized that how this cherishing for the welfare of other beings will enables you to achieve lasting happiness, and how the cherishing for yourself, one's own welfare, binds us within this unenlightened existence. So therefore, he said, it is due to our own self-cherishing mind we haven't been achieved our objective, which is the lasting happiness. Whereas other great beings such as Buddha Shakyamuni and so forth, they have abandoned the self-cherishing mind, cherishing for the welfare of one's own self, but rather cultivated the cherishing for the welfare of other beings who have gained the state of complete enlightenment and who have achieved the lasting happiness. So just by looking at that, the Buddha's achievement of lasting happiness or the ultimate happiness is not by cherishing himself, but rather he completely abandoned the cherishing of himself, and cherishing for the welfare of other sentient beings led him to achieve his objective.
just show like choosing cousin logo, sweet and the bottom of Jimmy, so you did a target. Me you own the the Nichi de Jindua, the Dijan, da Casa da Dijan, Doneta, Yanda Jeba Majana, Sanjini de Minduchi Kwana and the Wame said, John Rogans town de Toman can do a gang such a Tomat. Tenichin the Chibato city, you don't know. Taking a Siberan Gitasha, Tuara. Yeah, such a Domando Danga. Domotombo and Dondona.
Because I keep reaching teach us the Marwa.
Doesn't me. What the Taman, yes, Jolo is. Show me the
So there's one verse that Rinpoche is repeating, that we have gone through that earlier, but during previous teachings, he wanted me to go through once again, so I'm unable to find it. I didn't limit him on the
this is shown as John Day, John Saint Condo.
Sumba Jebusi was cheating the take out on the ground.
Well, on top of page
53.
Yeah, no, we're going back. Yeah, we're going back to this. Yeah.
On top of page 52, it quotes, I believe, it quotes him. And he talks about that.
Yeah, it is on the. Yeah, it's so the quoting from the Shantidevas. Whoever wishes to quickly protect himself or others must exchange self for others. Practice the excellent secret, right? Whatever worldly joys there is arises from wishing for others, other happiness. Whatever worldly suffering there is arises from the wishing for your own happiness. What need is there to say more? Look at the difference between these two. Ordinary persons act for their own welfare. The sage acts for the others' welfare. If you do not genuinely exchange your own happiness for other sufferings, you will not achieve Buddhahood. And even in cyclic existence, you will have no joy.
The jungle sholo katama the yans changure, Roa. Tenda dodo shujire, Dade Jinji Dunga Yada Jeba Majana, Sanjan in the Mendruji, Koana and Deo Mesi de Roa. Nangachi, not to Metsendigi Tendali in Roa. Ranchin Shuchamba de Devajin Yamaris indeed.
So His Holiness the Dalai Lama often, quotes this, last stanza, especially the last stanza, which is, if you do not genuinely exchange your own happiness for others' suffering, right, and you will not achieve Buddhahood. And even in cyclic existence, you will have no joy. It is very, very, true that if someone who is so self-centered and self-cherished, the more the person develops self-cherishing mind, the unhappier the person may be. Person will be, sorry.
The Tendukola Sosi de la Taja, see him bottle, and de Daja, Yana, see Sholo at the Sene, and Zanza Sosi, de no the Tender Kuna, Zanza Sanadona, Kangi typical Sanadona Gero. Can he the courage and you in a Sena? De Pagura.
So here now, I would suggest that you should not just, listen and read one time, but rather you can highlight such important stanza and then read and contemplate and practice. And especially when you are encountering difficulties, if you're able to remember such verse, will really help us to and encourage us to be strong and to be able to withstand with one's difficulties, difficult situations.
Kange typical Sanjele Jitembi Momatasla Ichi Checha and the Carrere Sejero, Jitembi Po Motas Mojan and Carrion, the Ketcha Tagum, Nega Deris and Sunshine, the second Lalematuro.
So this is, how we should always, when we are, undergoing such difficulties, when we are having a difficult situation, and those are the remedy, those are the strength that really strengthen your motivations and will enables you to withstand with such difficulties.
The Nanga Ching has gone in Casino Chuzilla, John is a Tadu Tombote, Roa, Casa Joa Miller, the Shichison girl said. Not so bad the dog Degisana don't get a messiah, Joa Miller Tata Yambachi, Yunto Ayana, Digi Shuto Redoa.
So this is, how we really, tame ourselves or reduce this, intensity of our self-cherishing mind by looking at all other beings as oneself. Just as one long to achieve happiness, so too other sentient beings have a similar wish to achieve happiness and overcome sufferings. If you're able to have, such kind of view towards all other sentient beings, will really reduce your self-cherishing mind. Even though that you may not be able to engage in such practice, that may I, extend or give away all my joys and blissful experience towards other beings. May I take all sufferings upon oneself. Even though you may not be able to do that, but if you're able to at least to see all beings as yourself, who long to achieve happiness and overcome suffering will really help us to reduce the intensity of our self-cherishing mind.
내가 쉬운 데서 치듯이 내가 쉬우지로 취소 계셔면 이제 코아나에 되어면서디 단단 가로속이 내가 더가랑라 강의 윤대에 간의 용샤세네 진짜 산나도 해진데 송사로.
So here now this verse really tells us that not even in the secular existence you will have no joy, with this kind of self-cherishing mind. You will have no joy. Even for it, this, if you look at this particular stanza, it is actually telling us, we are in the secular existence. We are not freed from secular existence, and we are struggling ourselves in the secular existence. Now, if we really want to have a joyful, life in this secular existence, we should reverse our thought. We should change our thought.
손치기 강에 내서도 제카치기 강에 받아로와 가리 오게 용거리에서는 계시시에서 되라 따지 되는 자체적으로다.
So by looking at that, then we will understand what makes us undergo difficult situations, how the difficult situation actually arises.
남미질 지질 세와 랑레 코 자체와 정액이 남미지 차도와이나 되게 메테게 남에 놀래 대지마도 강에 디나체 조마로와.
Just think about one individual at our family level. In other words, in our family, there's one individual who always think other family member is more precious than him or herself. Then such individual will never create problem to anyone in the family.
tenga zogi jinse sana ma do ma na ye so so chi bo yin gi de ji de yin da le ra len wa de nga zo chona yo ma ro mo ne chena na le so so de ji ka se yo ba de yin ye she ba le de ne ra ni le de ji le bi chona le wa yin na ani yin la thong ja tu ro.
So most of the time what is really lacking our way of thinking, we lack that our happiness really depends on other beings. This is what we normally don't think of that. When you think that you are happy and you have become a successful, we always think of ourselves that I am the one. I did that, and I did this independently by myself. None of others become a contributory factor for achieving such, objective. We don't think of that. But in reality, regardless of what kind of happiness that may be, whether it is a very, profound happiness or the, average happiness and so forth, all those happiness and joyful experiences are dependent upon others. We have not achieved those happiness, independently without depending upon others.
ngone chenen de la shuji kale jom de la shu kore ja gon ra shuji tere chedan yana ko ombo shin de no bo de jinse jongjo sana tong ye lega jeng ye dongsin de ji ro
This
dongsin
This verses, really makes us think very carefully. We need to take our time, not only just reading through and just understanding the meaning alone, but we should try to think of it and try to analyze and why this is so, and just keep asking questions and have the reasonings. And what is the reasoning behind those verses, and what those verses really makes a valid teachings for transforming our mind. So we need to read again and again and time and again and reflect upon the meaning of those verses and contemplate and meditate.
ngazu dechi kangan dele yugu du kanya kangan dele yugu du sedi tanga so dele tes dene tan ma do ro ngazu dechi nenge dunge men denge de ro.
Because as we long to achieve happiness and overcome sufferings, now this verse is, if you do this, this will give rise to happiness. If you do that, and that will give rise to sufferings. So why don't we take our time and just reflect upon it and meditate and contemplate Take a break here.
다디네 사제 동보데 다시 제나 계속 가려야 마제나 강에 가려야 생에 되게 제디지 니버데 다시 집에 삼바 코나 제니데 서로 다시 집에 삼바데 아니 양수 공부 최소한에 제투그래 세지 사진이 받아고 지트 송도 저서 쇼라 동보대 사진 동보텔라 다시 집에 당가 속이 소속이 사진 거를 빼셔야 되는 말하고 고알래나 로 아니 다시 제나 계속 가려 맞잖아 강에 가려야 돼
So now let's begin with thinking about what is the benefit of practicing of exchanging self for others, and what is the disadvantages of not practicing.
다당가서 다시 제세디 로제몰로에 들어와 토모 매번에 단답받아 라니 짜체션 전대에 된 노샤스 아니 제 짜체본 제소에는 라니 짜체보 임바데 술에 되요고도 세 디고한테 말내러 와가서.
So now here when speaking about exchanging self for others or self with others, we're talking about reversing the way of thinking of ourselves and others. That is what is meant by exchanging self of others. Up until now, we haven't really reflected upon this, our way of thinking, because from the beginningless time up until now, we have a thought of cherishing ourselves and neglecting the welfare of other sentient beings. This is the thought persistently existence within us.
나도 그지 가디에나 초선을 자체 된치 초선선을 샴보 쟁이나 초선을 가고 제일 말이야. 알리 젠다바 유시로.
Just think about, let's not talk about others. Just think about me here at this point. If I were to very, very nice to all of you, 75% I would say, or 70%, will you be happy with me? That's the question, I would say. So then again, on the other hand, if I neglect all of you and I don't really care about everyone over here, what will you think about me? That's a very simple fact.
다시 제스빌로도 사일렌 데발 라이방했단지 오나 근데 제투해지 레와 말해서라서나 칼레지노 콤바치쇼데 제투그레 손을 제스쇼라이.
So self-practice, such practices, exchanging self for others. In the beginning, we as an initial practitioner, such practice is very profound, and it really becomes, beyond our ability. But then if you really put in effort through a constant familiarity with such practice, will then develop, such mental attitude of cherishing for others and, welfare of other beings and neglecting the welfare of one's own self. So this can be developed. It is possible. So here now, let's think about, when speaking about exchanging self with others. That doesn't mean that we are physically exchanging self with others. Just like I cannot change Nima and Nima cannot be me. But it's not possible to change physically.
딱 가르침으로 그래서나 로 제목으로 로이 따지.
The way of thinking must be changed. Way of thinking must be exchanged. That is what it means by exchanging self with others.
로이 따지데 제목 로에 요래 뭐 자체자 요래스. 로세데 가르서는 먼저도 공비지에서 로그로마도 융비네스를 라시고 내가 말해. 융비네스로 아타칸지 타테바지라.
So now if we really put in effort to practice exchanging self with others, and the transformation of mind on changing of our mental attitude is possible. Because changing mental attitude, it really depends on how familiar yourself with such, practices. Because if you practice and familiarize yourself mentally, and there's always possibility that we can change our mind, our way of thinking.
다데 이페송요디 페나 초랑이 뱅히마 메데기 미데 안조나 관나야 마가와 쳇데 메데 아니 초랑이 제마델라 메델라 페센타냐고 차도와스 만에 저는 차시가 말아와스.
For instance, let's take an example that we have read through this last during previous teachings. There's in the beginning, in the earlier part of your life, there might be a person whom you really consider as your ultimate enemy. Even by hearing the individual's name, that creates anger and hatred within your mind. But in the same person at the later part of your mind, your life, who have become your best friend, and without his or her presence, you become unhappy. So there's always possibility. Because in the beginning you think that this is my ultimate enemy. I will not be able to be happy with this person, even by hearing his or her name. But then later part of your life, this person becomes your best friend. So this is, you're actually changing your mind, your way of thinking, the way you think about that individual.
쇼지데 쇼지라 아니 초랑이 나한테 답을 줘야 돼. 초랑이 류인스네 초랑이 응지 제데 뭐네 저는 초랑이 류 말아왔어. 메제다 지기 차시로 왔어 류지.
So then also it's also said that the way we cherish ourselves and I and me all the time, my body and so forth. If you really analyze very carefully the way you cherish I and the way you think of myself, I, which you really consider I as a very precious. If you really think and carefully and analyze carefully, the I you cherish the most is non-existence.
제절리기 차시 간르셔서 로에나 아니 파미 컨트롤 로스 파미리기 차시 로스.
That you cherish your body. This is considered my body. It belongs to me and it independently existed as my body. It's not actually, the part of your body is actually received from other individuals, such as one's father and mother. It's not really, you have your body that you really think of your own accomplishment. It's actually coming from other beings.
대나기로와 대나기기 따동질에 따서는 신질리스 랑길리스이니 내가 집발에 된대요래 히바기 딴 된대요로.
So if you're able to think in that way, then when we think about the body of other beings and body of oneself, you will not be able to have much attachment and aversion with regard to others' body and one's own body. If you know how the body coming into being, what is the actual mode of existence of your body and so forth.
다 대시되는 가서 공시되지 양형제다 로종 수치모 맞잖아. 단단한 속에 로일에 쇼금도 와.
So those way of thinking, in a process of thinking, is not really easy. It really requires a rigorous practice and contemplation of those contemplations, because at the moment we as the initial practitioners, when we think of such practice, it almost becomes impossible for us to, engage in such practice diligently. But if you really put an effort on a consistent manner, you will definitely change your way of thinking.
nga so ye country chen chu towards na jen la zewa le na ja che ja rani gi te lo tong tu re ro zawa shu jem le so na ga de sa na nge kha sin la yin ba ama chi le bichi ma de mena ama de rang gi lu long she gyan so de je ba bu gi ten de la ame rani lo tong tu ro rani yo to tu ro.
So if one is able to cultivate a genuine sense of caring and sense of connectedness with others, suddenly one will be able to let go of one's own needs. This can happen because most of the time we are unable to let go of our own needs is because we are not having a sense of caring, the genuine sense of caring and sense of connectedness. Although we may say that, we may claim ourselves that my sense of caring and my sense of love and kindness towards you is something that is genuine, but it is not in reality, because still there is always some with our way of sense of caring and sense of connectedness with others is tinged with attachment all the time. It happens to us. Just like if one's sense of caring and connectedness with other being is something that is very genuine, then it should be like a mother who has her only child is undergoing sickness or undergoing tremendous amount of sufferings, and mother will completely neglect her own needs for the benefit of her only child. So this kind of mental attitude can be achieved, can be accomplished by ourselves, it can be developed within us through the consistent practice.
yang de nga zu ko le to ma ji na ji shen gi tan de che de ran ni jin da bo je mo go kala sa mo go le ga che mo go yu shu sen de tan de ke che ma ro sen je pa ne jen de she se de le ka ka re che ba de zu po gi da bo je na shen gi tan yin ba mi zo de jen de ma do sa me ji ro.
So here now again, you should not get wrong when we speak about neglecting one's welfare of one's own self, not eating yourself and not doing anything, or just completely neglecting your own needs, of your basic needs such as fooding, shelter, and so on and so forth. This is not what we are talking about here. Just as we find in the materials, Avisamma Alamkara, where it stated that Semke Pani Shendunchir, the purpose of generation of spirit of enlightenment is the welfare of other beings. Your very survival of this life is for the welfare of other beings. Whatever the activities that one may engage in, I think of that my engagement of such activities is the welfare of other beings. And this kind of practice should be adapted as a practitioner of the spirit of enlightenment.
다들 가서 년이 돈은 카팔로 추초여래. 단단 가서 기 때문에 메젠다 지기 내가 재선전에 내가 비다보 비다 맞잖아 소소라지 아버라고 말어. 되게 된다라 소소야 보용비 된다라 메기 내가 잖아 비다보 제거도. 미조한테 소소 변는 남이나 가래는 제조에는 센데 도고 당소 된다라 야타치 내가 제거로.
So just think of even our the accomplishment of our mundane excellences. It requires a lot of hardships. We have to put a lot of effort and energy for that accomplishment. And suddenly, when we think about the accomplishment of state of unsurpassable enlightenment, it requires a rigorous practice, continuous practice for achievement of such objective.
그래서 내가 전세는도 민도 다같이 뒤수 돌아래도 민도.
So
소스다이로.
So now, whatever that we have discussed, we should think of, is there any valid reasoning behind that our discussions? That is, our life, it is up to us now to think and contemplate and see whatever the discussion that we may have today, we are having right now, you can later think about it. Is there any reasoning for that? Is there any valid supporting reasoning involved in such discussions?
강가 디송 정원이 강가 제바 쟁이 콩 로고 송거다. 로.
His Holiness always emphasized on remaining skeptical of what we were talking about. Even receiving the teachings, you should always receive the teachings, and whatever the teaching that you have received must be analyzed carefully.
대다지제 대지. 당간서 사지 송바들이 사지 송바색으로 단지. 당간서기 중 코로나는 만로나 산하지 땅에로. 현당에 된게 첨부 저거 라니 로동 것에 진짜 민도 상황이나로. 현당이 된체 받으라니 된체 거래 되는. 된노도다. 로. 당간서기 다신 저거세디 소소로도 현당에 가르쳐 거세죠. 데 산나동데 단다 첨부는 산나동에나 현대 접어다 ran데 집이 따로 ran데 야부용에 된다로 된다래서는 미치 말에다 레용으로.
So here now, when talking about working for the welfare of other sentient beings, certainly, we are not really neglecting our own welfare. By means of working for the welfare of other beings, our own purpose will be accomplished as by product. If you really look at in this way, you're working for the welfare of other sentient beings, caring for the welfare of other sentient beings, will ultimately, enables you to achieve your own purpose as well.
다 쇼지는 가서기 현대 맞잖아. 말을 쇼지 차그래로. 이제 맞아와이나. 남의 쇼지 차그래. 아니 진지전도나.
So on the other hand here now, if you really look at someone who is being so self-centered and who is completely, influenced by the self-centered attitude, and such individual will not be appreciated by anyone. It will not be, looked positively by anyone, isn't it? So by thinking at that, there is something that is not even appreciated by your own neighbors, your own friends, acquaintances, and so forth. So that really tells us that self-centeredness or self-centered attitude is something that is not really needed. It needs to be gotten rid of from our mental system.
그래서 내가 좀 같은 첨부를 전에 제가 보되 세대지 매긴 로동로 세대지 리종로다 여러기 리종로.
So here, repaying for the kindness of other beings is something that is, natural to our human world and human beings. If you know that someone has been really kind to yourself, if the individual is sensible enough, then that individual will always think about repaying the kindness of other beings.
다른 버스나 동마 진짜 뭐 임비니세 다른 가서 공부 지원되는 간데된도 로 간데도 나 된정 도로 간을 건도 그래서 그 소소히 제가 재미와 선제전지 샤워를 때는.
So here now, most of the time when we think about thinking about repaying the kindness of other beings, appreciating the kindness of other beings, having a gratitude towards kindness of other beings, we always think about that someone whom we have a direct contact with. This is what our way of thinking, our way of repaying and thinking of repaying their kindness. But if you really think very carefully, there are a lot of beings that whom you don't even know who they are have been very kind to us. For instance, I'm here right now, and being in this house, and enjoying my stay in this house. And who built this house? I don't even know the person who built this house. And I'm enjoying the light that I have right now so that I can read at night. And I don't even know who installed these lights. And I should be appreciated, and I should have a genuine gratitude towards those beings who have done this for me. So if you really think in this way, there are a lot of beings who have been very kind to us, whom we don't even know who they are, whom we don't even know that they exist now.
라바드 사천들랑 같이 고르지 되는 하다지 되고야지 말이 신로게 저러라. 나마도 미치면은 하다지 자금하러 가자. 되냐도 말이 대답해 주셔.
So if there's no electricity in this place, and I don't think the people will survive, even for 1 week. And who provided this? Who made this? We should think about all this. And this will really broaden your way of thinking of other beings.
진짜 간에 산나동소나 지금 손 지된들 소소 거에 땅거 땅 도거 땅수 세대로 지되면 쳐야 돼. 대야 신경이 전에 되는 거로.
So all of our needs, such as the name or fame, fooding, shelter, and so forth, are all coming into being due to the kindness of other beings. So therefore, now with this understanding, you can think about if that self-centered attitude is something that is relevant. If the self-centered attitude it is worthwhile to be cultivated. It is worthwhile to be, nurtured. So this is how we need to think of now. So, it's always look at ourselves and analyze and think very carefully.
나총 가르스나 나서 죽는 소소 메토는 주는 마도 로아 미게 나 메토 살다는 소소네 작은 마로.
If you're sick, then your sickness can be cured by consulting with your own physicians and following the physician's directions and instructions. Just by looking at other beings who are sick and taking medicine will not really help us. So we need to take the medicine yourself to cure ourselves.
당한수기 동적으로 다 뭐네 태바첨보생에 대된 상추생 요면을 따고도 상추생에서 가르치는 연구도 세는 로장의 연구도 세대로.
So now to summarize these teachings, how do we cultivate such precious spirit of enlightenment, which is Bodhichitta? What really becomes a causes and condition for cultivating the spirit of enlightenment is through rigorous practice and studies.
다 오늘 로장나 간데잖아 로장고르세는 라네 동에지나 야나 제스 쇼알라 이소마 나긴 로고르 야나 가르 조지바데 아디 소마 나긴 로고르.
Through practicing of our mind or the training of our mind. So by training our mind, one will be able to achieve the spirit of enlightenment by following either of those instruction given by Shantideva or instruction given by Atisha Devamkara Shirachana.
나 된대지 맞아요나 랑린치 가시는 송어로 만체 주부 담바성에 송바지 맞아요지 매제게 제도나 용무싱에지 용연년 가요르스로 회사에 사제전다지 레년 가요르스 하죠.
So if we are unable to follow their footsteps, unable to follow their instructions, then we will not be able to get to the destination where you long to go. So you will end up, in a destination that you have never expected.
당한수 동자 당한수지 어느 맛이 전쟁권에 장나 간제전에 장고래 세제로 간제전에 장고를 들리 진센도면도 다신 제비고는 장나 간제 장고를 들리 진센도면도 카랑로로는 강전에 제바체는 데로.
So now here it is time for us to analyze where such instruction has a supporting or the valid reasonings behind those teachings, such as teachings on sevenfold cause and effect meditation on the bodhicitta, and then exchanging self with others.
다 마시 전쟁원의 로장세에 대한 진세 그지 모델 직원도 진세지는 말와. 들리 진세열이 저항하시고 두라 내가 그런.
So now here the sevenfold cause and effect instructions. Although it is said that it is the instruction given for the average faculty, practitioners, but that doesn't mean that it lacks the reasonings. There is tons of reasoning behind these teachings. It is, with all when you follow those teachings of the sevenfold cause and effect, it really brings the life after death, or the life of previous life and next life will coming into picture. And this one's life after death will be the main reasoning for the practice, the supporting reasoning of the instructions of sevenfold cause and effect.
내가 쉬우지 두고 그래. 대야 소설 좋아해 그래. 나 가정 용어 대린래 산이 로와나 이게 저와하마 저와데 저와시만 로경에 지나 따뜻 간제전은 로고래. 세 지하라고라. 소설 장바 많이 게 지한 되는 때요 그래.现在뭐 버질래 땡거 봐지.
So just like that, I was existed yesterday, and I'm here today. So yesterday's person that existed, that me, I as yesterday, and today I'm here, that I'm existing, which has a connection between the two, causal, relationship between yourself, I, or you who are yesterday, and you who are today. You who are yesterday and you who are today as a causal relationship between the two.
저기 저항하실래 자는데 저항하면 토마 명예기 저와 주요나 토마 명예기랑 전지장에게 아니 파마 지열에서 드니르는 맛이 텐데 두에 대한 리파이어라다.
So then with this kind of reasoning, you can relate this reasoning to our life of beginningless time. From the beginningless time up until now, it's a continual taking rebirth after rebirth. And all of those rebirths has a causal relationship. The numerous life form that we have taken in the past, and up until now, all of those life spans that life form that we have taken has a connection or relationship, a causal relationship among those different forms of life.
tenduyo 맛이 tende고는 로장세텔라 강스 슈자마투나 데데인 소소로토는 맞지.
This is how we should think of when speaking about practicing the sevenfold cause and effect, bodhicitta, the practice of the sevenfold cause and effect, reflection upon the previous life, and how the relationship between the previous life and this life, and so forth.
아니 되네 말해서는 이 상주선생은 천이 성화 지적은 안들이 지적고야다 세지 로아 맨주마서는 민데 따위도 메데기 된줄로 차토에 제로 던지 지고리다.
So then here when we talk about practicing the bodhicitta, we should be able to have at least conceptual understanding of what is the bodhicitta really means in the beginning. Just like when we talk about somebody, you have, as soon as you express the name of that person, although the person is not with you, but you have a conceptual it is called generality, in other words. You should have a generality or meaning generality of that particular person. Even though the person is not here with you, you are unable to see at this point, but when you as you express this name of the person, you should be able to generate some kind of meaning generality of the person, don't you?
When 제와 이나로와
A generic image, in other words, sorry. Yeah.
when 저는 내가 창소자네 누구 본 거에서 저러와 내가 창소파자 될 본거에서 추제 창소파자 로안 가르쳐 야제만 계속 메시아제 상추생 고종은 로선다 뭐니 니바탕 그러서다
So
이제다 니바탕나 야지 태어마를 송다
if you really think and you are very enthusiastic about practicing bodhicitta, you should always continue to do so, because with this practice will really give you a result, definitely give you a result, without a doubt.
당초 오마 수발에 상추 생진유 건중세 들어와 가르사 추주 풍부 제트제도 뚜뚜 또는 마데 가르타면서 상추기 생레선에 소하러.
So therefore it says, by churning the milk is to achieve butter, right? Similarly, by churning the 48,000 hips of the doctrines of the teachings of the Dharma, the result will be the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is a result of churning the milk of 84,000 hips of the Dharma.
상추 생지 따시네로 데네 데던로와라 센시스시 줄unjes. 쇼지로.
So therefore it's stated in the text by saying that Chanchu Simki Tashanas, if you mount the horse of the bodhicitta, it will transcend from one blissful existence to another blissful existence.
오늘 전에 저와이나 로아 가르사 중앙속에 제복이 부지제선에 제비세서는 효다 제제로 열이로 제세서는 쇼지 대노기 상추 센지 제선나 대닌간에 하드미 샤셰위 아니 제세 상추 센바세 차로 델하지도 가요.
So therefore it says, just like, and it's the queen mothers, in other words, the queens will give birth to his or her son, then that son will be the crown prince. And it was renowned, and people, venerate and recognize a person as a crown prince. Similarly, at the moment that you have generated bodhicitta, you're worthy, you're valued by all beings as the son of the Buddhas.
당가서 저는 슈지메만도 그 인지기를 따고 도bat 삼보 좋아 삼보 슈지 짜지 동경으로 뭐네 저는 상추 생고로 과 야보시는 슈예제 되는으로 그래서 지송 상주진데 자그마로 다체제 양념 가능이나.
So I really believe.
맞아 페퍼리 때에는 난 공시지 용이 샤샤게 되어리 야보레선.
You as a not really followed the faith tradition, but you have gone through a lot of analysis. You have this analytical system is built in you. So I'm pretty sure that if you really practice this bodhicitta by applying your analysis will really help you. Not like a Tibetan take it for granted. When they talk about practice the Dhamma and practice bodhicitta, and without applying any reasoning, so they will think of that is true. So for now, I would say that the modern practitioners are not like that. They always need reasoning. So finding the reasoning or the appropriate reasoning is one of the tools that really, encourages you to move forward towards the practice of the Dhamma or development of spiritual practice.
당가서 대장이. 당가서 네 주소진이 얘기를 세고로 Tirin Sabini, Gawate Sembi, Tisondo Sabi Gawana, Shoji Dambi Talatene. And you are just a Jetanji Shanchu Sen Nuanya the Chene and Zobi, Saja Komanyanya the Tobi and Kanga Itomena. Malajuro Salada.
So let's dedicate our merits that we have accumulated today, as well as the merit that we have accumulated from the beginningless time up until now, or the merit that we have accumulated 3 times, towards the achievement of enlightenment of oneself and all other sentient beings. And may all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions to bless me to be able to do this.
Dagi Jini Sabi Gyawadi Tendon Jowa Gyala Gambi Dan Juzan Losan Chabayi Tembi Nimbo Rindo Seje Jo Beje Joje Medo Zhang Zhiro Li De Jembo De Sanje Bewa Yi Dogen Nanda Shina Shubo Shu Gendo Yanda Nama Dan Jeme Chuje Bela Lonje Sada Lonje Yede Rozo Ne Loje Changye Gobo Nyado Shu Guru Rana Minre Naga Daya Daya Ni Bele Sonye Ne Kada Yamba Kanshi Sabadi Lomi Mare Kedon Jowana Nanjin Jaye Wombo Dajoji Dema Sumbi Tsera Kundo Yang Jambi Yang Jun Sebe Jezone Dembi Rinpa Kun San Lang Je Cho Nyene Drubi Jena Nyen She Sho Rangi Chi Jin Dobi Lang Je Ne Shu Zha Sebe Zhang Yue Tao Ge Je Ro Yue Yue Je Min Ba Se Je Ne Ja Yue Den Ba Yu Rin Zin Ju Chi Den Ba Rin Chen Cho Ge Ma Cha Ba Nyam Ba Je Bi Shu De Ne Nyen Je Chen Bu Yi Ra Jo Ba Yi Pin De 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 Se Wa Shi Ba Shu Se Jin Jia Yue Mi Xiong Chen Le 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 Zhu Xiang Qiu Lang Ju Rin Bi Jiang Tan De Nang Ju Yi La Bi De Xin Jia Yue Zi Ba Rin Du Zhong Ju Ji Lang Zang Zhu Bi Ting Jin Zhu Xi Jin Ge Jin Si Xi Me Dan Mi Mi Gun Tsera Gun Du Jia Yue Nga Ba Yi Nanda Lang Dong Zhe Wa Ma Ju Ji Gang Zi Te Ba Chu La Chu Shi Ji Zhu La Zhen Ba De Yue Tse Ba Nang Ju Da Du Zhu Xi Ji Zha Xi Jiang Ci Shu Gun Qiao Ju Ji Lam Rim Gu Se Zhao Den Qin Nang Ga Chen Ne Shu Ju Je Bo Lo Zang Den Bi Zhe Me Sa Sun Qi Zhuo Yue Min Se Da Du Nen Ju Ji Ra Bi Go Yue Xin Gang Su Pe Dan De Wa Ma Lin Zhong Yue Ne Xin Ri Zi Wang Din Zi Jia Zu Yi Xia Bi Sin Ti Bo Du Din Ju Ji Bangye Cheta Chenpo Dong Kendo Zombo De Yang De Jen De De Da Kunju Jesu Da Lo Shu Ge Wan De Da Tang Ji Ro Du Ngo De Zon Shi Bin Jia Wan Tang Ji Ji Ngo Wa Gong La Chu Du Ngo Ba De Da Jin Ge Yun Za Wan Du Gun Jiang Zong Bo Shi Shi Rao Du Ngo